Today is April 2nd, and I'm just test fitting the chine here. So this is 25 millimeter wide Western red cedar, 40 millimeters tall, and I'll stand over here so you can see how it looks. So I'm just test fitting those. Looks pretty good. It's about, so the width back here will be 6 feet 9 inches. Decided to go a little narrower than I had before. Could have been basically 7 feet. Decided that I was getting carried away. Narrower is more efficient, but less stable. So anyway, all these things are compromises, but I think this will work out pretty well. So I've got this both sides set up. They're symmetrical, and what I've done is I've marked out various color Sharpie as I've changed my mind here and there, but the green Sharpie line here is where I'm going to notch these frames, and let's see, I've marked underneath where I'm cutting it out like that, so then this will just drop in there, so I've got to cut that out, plus it needs to be a little bit of an angle. The angle changes back there. They're basically parallel with the boat, and as they come forward here, of course, they're a bit more of an angle, but once that's in there, in place, that should be really strong. That's really going to beef things up quite a lot. And I had some 9 foot long Western red cedar, so I scarfed it together day before yesterday. So that's the scarf joint. It's 8 to 1, so it's 8 inches long, 1 inch wide. Did that for each side, and then these are the bottom pieces, which will go down on top of that. These are the little triangular pieces that you might have seen in the previous video. So those are just epoxied in, just edge glued together to hold them in place, and then I glued the finger joint here in the middle. So this is all set, needs to be sanded down. They're stacked on top of each other, so both sides are there. This one flips over. This is one side and the other side, and the outside edge here is bigger than it needs to be. Get my hand out of there so maybe the camera will focus. But the outside edge will basically come along like this, and then down here it runs right to here, so there'll be kind of a line through there like that. Yeah, so these now need to be fiberglassed on what will be the top part of the bottom, or the inside of the space there. So I'm going to put a coat of epoxy and fiberglass, and one more coat of epoxy on top of that, just so these are really well sealed on the inside in case it gets damp in there. And the other thing I need to do, besides installing this, is I need to cut the weep holes in here, so that any water that accumulates in here will run downhill this way, and I'll be able to get it through a couple access ports back there. So for starters, I'm just going to cut a couple weep holes like here, and then back here, probably like one in the middle of this, and then one there, one here, and one here. That way, if the boat's tilted a little bit one way or the other, the water will find a way out of those things one way or the other and get back to there. Then I'll be able to open up the inspection port, see if there's any water, pump it out or sponge it out or whatever. Theoretically, it shouldn't be any, but it's really nice to know that there isn't any. So yeah, I think it's pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with the way this thing looks, and it'll be nice to have this piece in here because these ends are, you know, kind of wobbly and everything. But once that's all glued into place, this is going to be much, much stronger. And of course, once the bottom's on top of that, way stronger still. So shouldn't be too many more days of work, maybe a few calendar days, but not that much more work to get that notched in there and get the bottom on. I'm going to leave the outside, you know, I'm really not going to need this. Eventually these outside pieces will come off, but for right now, just to help to hold this in place while it's gone down in there, I'm just going to leave those on. I'll trim them all off some point later on in the project, maybe even after I flip the boat back the other way and install the deck, and then maybe I'll cut them off. I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet, but when exactly I'm going to do that. But essentially they'll be, you know, just straight vertical cuts like that in those.